All right, we back. We got the blurry camera as I'm walking back home. So let me um let me turn this off actually, because the camera is blurry, and I just want y'all to listen to my voice, because this retrograde really this retrograde is really pissing me off right now. So we gonna do it like this. Um, so I'm gonna tell y'all what I was gonna do, so that way y'all will be able to research it for yourself, and look it up for yourself. But what I was trying to show y'all before was this Michael Jackson clip, and he was doing his Pepsi commercial, and in this particular Pepsi commercial, you know, he was the beat for The Price of Fame. His song The Price of Fame was playing in the background, right? And you know, he was singing different lyrics, but when you paid attention to that, pretty much that commercial, when you paid attention to that commercial, even though in the commercial he was talking about Pepsi, even though in the commercial he was talking about Pepsi, when you really listen, when you really watch what he was, watch what he was trying to portray on the commercial, it fit more in line with the actual song that he made called The Price of Fame. And I talked about that particular song in my live stream, or in my video about the Archangel Michael Chronicles. I think it was the one about the Bad album. So I think it's like the Archangel Michael Chronicles Part 2, where I talked about that particular thing. And the caption of that video was saying that Michael Jackson was always on the run. It seemed like he was always on the run, in his commercials and stuff like that. So my homegirl Yvette B, shout out to her. My homegirl Yvette B, she sent me that clip, and me thinking about it now, it's probably a good thing that it didn't go through, because YouTube, they like taking stuff down that has anything to do with Michael Jackson. So it's probably a blessing in disguise. So she was telling me about how creative Michael was and all of this type of stuff, and it really got me to thinking. Because we all know Michael Jackson did not like Pepsi at all. Michael Jackson, he didn't like Pepsi, and if he had it his way, because a lot of people don't know this, I was going to play this clip. If he had it his way, he would have represented Dr. Pepper, not Pepsi. And little do a lot of people know, but there's actually a clip of Michael Jackson singing a jingle for Dr. Pepper. And a lot of people don't know about it, because it's one of those hidden things. But when you listen to that jingle and then you put it next to the ones he did for Pepsi, you can tell that that Michael really liked Dr. Pepper, but Dr. Pepper wasn't a big enough company to support, the Jacksons. There wasn't a big enough company to represent them. And when it comes to Michael, he's been controlled all his life. That's what that Virgo. Every time I see a Virgo sun, that is in the industry, like Beyonce, like Michael Jackson, they're heavily controlled. In order for them to keep their innocence, they're heavily controlled. And the main reason why, towards the 90s, Michael Jackson started to get targeted was because he started to go against the grain when it came to different political matters and stuff like that. He started going against the Jews, and he started going against, these different groups, and that's what led to him getting targeted and stuff. So me looking at those two videos, it really got me thinking. It really got me over here thinking, what type of if Michael had his own, if he had it his way, what companies would he have supported? What if Michael had it his way? And it's funny because a lot of people don't know Michael Jordan. He really didn't want to go with Nike like that. He wasn't planning on being with Nike. Michael Jordan liked Adidas. Adidas was who he wanted to go behind, who he wanted to represent. But it was his mom. It was his mom that that kind of made him go to Nike, and then the rest is history. But if Michael Jordan had it his way, would he have made the same decision? And it has me thinking, because right now, all the people that are passing away during this new moon in Leo, the main question is, what are they going to be most known for? What are these people? Malcolm, put in the chat who all has passed away during this time. You got Malcolm. You got Malcolm Jamal Warner. He passed away. And what was Malcolm? What was he known for? What was Malcolm Jamal Warner known for? And from what I'm seeing on the social media, he was known for being a positive man. He was known for being a good man. He's known for his roles on Malcolm and Eddie and the Cosby Show and all that type of stuff. Now, someone else passed away, Hulk Hogan. Now this is interesting. This is interesting because Hulk Hogan, think about what he's known for right now. The last thing we remember about Hulk Hogan, he was on some racist shit, wasn't he? Wasn't he? And he did that in a part of his career. He did that in a part of his career to where, there's no, he can't come back from that, And I feel like it's something else with that, because it's very interesting how Hulk Hogan, he just magically dies, but then the day before, Ric Flair came out and said that he beat cancer. The last day of cancer, Ric Flair came out and said, I beat cancer. And then the next day into Leo season, Hulk Hogan turns up dead. All right. But sadly, that's what Hulk Hogan is going to be known for most of us, because we didn't grow up We didn't grow up, well, at least me, I didn't grow up seeing Hulk Hogan wrestle, you know? So everything that he may have represented in the past, you know, most people, when they think about Hulk Hogan, they think about the racist thing that he did. Now, what about Michael Jackson? The most iconic performances of Michael Jackson, the most iconic commercial TV appearances of Michael Jackson has everything to do with Pepsi, a company that he didn't like, a company that he really didn't support, and a company that was the reason for all of the pain and the suffering and the pain pills and the medications that he ended up being on, you know, up until the end of his life. Pepsi did that, you know, that Pepsi accident, you know, the company that he didn't even like. And, you know, a part of that is what he's known for. He's known for the Pepsi accident. He's known for the Super Bowl that was provided by Pepsi. You know, the only time we really saw Michael in a commercial was a Pepsi commercial. But if Michael had it his way and he was able to do things the way he wanted to do it, he wouldn't have represented half of the shit that he represented, because he didn't have a choice. You know, he was forced to make a lot of those decisions and make a lot of those choices and stuff. So the question that I want to pose to y'all for this new moon, what do you want to be known for? You know, what do you out there, what do you want to be known for? What do you want your legacy to be? You know, and I know some of y'all listen to this, y'all might be young, you might be in your 20s. I'm in my mid 30s, you know, and I'm headed towards that midlife crisis age, you know, once you get in your 40s. Because you really start thinking about your legacy. You know, a lot of people I know, they got kids already. You know, a lot of people I know, they got kids already. A lot of people I know, you know, they've already, you know, did certain things to where even if they don't do anything else in their life, you know, any ambitious things in their life, if they can die and their kids is like, you was a good dad, you was a good husband, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that'll be okay. What's up? I just wanted to make sure that you know, that y'all can hear me and all of that. I'm still walking. I'm just now leaving the storage place where my RV was, and while I was on this walk, it really had me thinking, because, you know, yeah, I don't got it all together. You know, my stability isn't all that great. You know, I don't have it all together. But what I'm trying to create and what I'm trying to, you know, the things that I'm trying to do for my lifestyle, me being able to get this off the ground will build a legacy for me that nobody else in my family is even on, you know? Even at my age, you know, having an RV, you know, being able to travel cross country and go on these adventures and to take y'all with me, you know, even with just my videos that I got already, the many podcasts I've given y'all, the many live streams that I've given y'all, the many messages that I've given y'all throughout the years, you know, even though I don't have any children or anything like that, you know, if I did die today, I feel like I left a good enough legacy on YouTube to where, people come across my videos and they come across who I am, you know, it'll be something positive. It'll be something positive that you can, you can let your kids watch my videos and y'all can get something positive from it, you know. So that's what I was thinking. A lot of us, we don't necessarily have it all together when it comes to this rat race. But if you don't give up and you keep pressing forward, um, you're gonna end up carving out this lifestyle that ends up becoming a legacy. The works that you're gonna be able to do in that particular lifestyle. So that's the main thing that I want to talk about. That's the main thing that I wanted to say during this new moon. It's in Leo. I think the sun is in Leo too. So we got this new moon in Leo, and it represents the heart, doing things from the heart, the heart space, creating from the heart and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people out here and they're not living the life that they really want to live. They're only doing what they can just to pay the bills. They're only doing what they can just so they can make money, so they can pay their rent and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, like that's not, that's not how you want to live. So many people, when they get old, when they get in their 40s, when they get in their 50s, and they look back on their life and all the magic that you did, everything that you did was so that you can pay rent, so that you can, survive. Yeah. It's like, if you die today, is that what you want to be known for? Like that's the main thing I've been thinking about. That's the main thing that I've been thinking about. So you said giving a piece of your soul for nothing. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And when it comes down to it, when you're looking back over your life, what do you have to be proud of? When you get evicted from that when you get evicted from that apartment that you've been living there 10 plus years, or you get evicted, or something happens to where you lose your house, or something happens to where, are you going to be at peace with yourself that this is how you spent your life? Because for me, yeah, it may seem like in the Matrix things are crashing down. My phone is off right now because I don't got the money to pay my phone bill. I don't know how I'm gonna pay rent. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do anything when it comes to the Matrix, because things have been so slow. But the little bit that I got on the other side, which is my RV, is a small glimmer of hope. It's a small glimmer of hope that some people will be like, give it up, because you still gotta fix it, it's still gotta be able to work and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing that really keeps me going. The only thing that keeps me going, the only thing that really gives me hope, because this Matrix, it wasn't built for certain people. Certain people that are supposed to be creative, certain people who are supposed to actually leave some type of legacy, some type of work in the world. And it's like I'm seeing people being proud because Leo represents pride. So I'm seeing people being proud of doing the bare minimum, proud of just surviving, and I don't want to be that type of person, because that's the type of person I was last year. I don't want to be that type of person. When I tell you last year, 2024, in 2024, I would say that was my most magical year. I was able to do some really dope magic. I was able to do some dope stuff, but I don't really got anything to show for it because all the magic that I was doing was so that I can make sure the rent got paid. And it's like, yeah, it's cool because you got to have somewhere to stay. But it's like, at the end of the day, what's so magical about that? But I remember when I was in my truck, my stability was not good, but I had so many testimonies. I had so much to share, because my overhead was so low. So, that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about. I had some clips that I was going to show, but that didn't work out. But the main thing that I just wanted to ask y'all during this new moon is, what do you want to be known for in your life? What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want your if you got kids out there, what do you want your kids to be proud of about you? And for some people, being able to provide a roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food for them to eat is enough. For some people, that's enough. But I'm talking for the people who really have stuff out here that they need to share. They really got things in their heart, things in their soul, things in their spirit that they're supposed to share to the world. And you're stuck in this rat race. You're stuck in this matrix, and time is not gonna slow down for you. Time isn't gonna slow down for you. One day you may wake up and you're not gonna be here no more. And what are you leaving behind? At least I can say I got countless videos, I got countless messages that somebody could run across, and it'll get them a positive outlook. It'll get them a message that they need in their spirit. But what about y'all out there? Can y'all say that? Can y'all say that y'all left a positive impact in people's lives? So that's all I really wanted. I don't want this video to be too long, but yeah, just think about that. And until next time, peace.